Hey everybody, Joe here with 360 Comics. This past weekend, I attended my first ever convention from the other side of the table, not as a buyer and attendee, but as a seller, a vendor at the convention, and I wanted to share that entire experience with you guys today. You guys already know the deal. If you like this content, subscribe, like, follow, comment, all that stuff. And look out for 2 giveaways that I should be announcing in the next week or so. I decided to break this video down into parts, and the first thing I'm going to do is what I got at the convention, my haul, just because I feel like some people are going to want to watch that and see what I got, but don't really care about the rest of the process of preparing and setting up and selling at a convention. So first I'll show off what I got, and then I'll go into the details of how I came about doing this and, what I did to prepare and all that stuff. So let's check out what I got first. I actually did not buy a single comic book. I did buy a couple things, but they weren't comic books. I got actually 2 of these. I'm going to show them off at the same time because they are very similar. We've got the cover of Secret Wars 8 on, a poster-sized print, and I actually collect Black Suit Spider-Man prints. I have like a couple comic posters and stuff, but as far as like framed prints, the only ones that I have in my house are Black Suit Spider-Man. So I decided to continue that trend, and it was really cool because John Beatty had the black and white one, and he was there giving signatures. As you'll see, his signature is on both of these. And Jim Shooter also was there selling these color ones. And so I got one from each of them and got them both to sign it. Really, really cool to see, such important Marvel creators and other comic companies as well. I think both of them have worked for DC. Jim Shooter, having been editor-in-chief of Marvel for a period of time. Really, really awesome to chat with them for a little bit and get their signatures on, a really iconic piece of comic book art. These are going to get framed and go hang up with my other Black Suit Spider-Man prints. And to go along with the Secret Wars theme, since that was a series that both of them worked on, I got Secret Wars #1 signed by both of them. Unfortunately, I did not have a copy of #8. This was the only Secret Wars book that I had with me, and I didn't really want to buy one because I actually have a couple copies of #1, a couple copies of #3, a couple copies of #8, and a full run of the rest of them. So I decided, hey, I'm just going to get #1 signed. This is my personal collection. I'll keep this, and I'll throw the one that's my normal personal collection into my for sale bin. So pretty cool to have this. Really stoked on that. And those are the only things that I got. The signatures, the prints were the only things that I got at this convention. Again, I didn't buy any comics. I didn't really have a lot of time to walk around and look around. And I was on a budget as well. So I decided, you know what? We're gonna pass by purchasing stuff today and just focus on selling and meeting people in the community. So you may have heard me mention before that I kind of stumbled into this position of having a table at this convention. The convention, by the way, was Super Jersey Comic Expo. It was in Holmdel, New Jersey. Big shout out to Paul, AJ, and Stan. They're the guys who set it up. So thanks to them, as well as thanks to my buddy Alex from Toy and Comic Heaven. He's the manager over there. He was the one that hooked me up with the table. A friend of his last minute was not able to make it and offered the table to Alex, who then said to me, hey, do you want to split this table? So myself and Alex split it. Go check out Alex on Instagram. His handle is Collecting Dude, and I'll put that right down there. Anyway, so yeah, he asked me if I wanted to split the table, and I said, yeah, that sounds really cool. I had, done a handful of claim sales on Instagram, and if you remember a couple weeks ago, I also did my first flea market. And the flea market was a great preparation and a great learning experience for what was to come next, which was this convention. I did a lot of stuff to prepare for it. especially in this last week, right after I bought a big collection. And some of you might be asking, hey, where's that collection video? I wanted to take my time with it. I didn't want to rush it out, and I was so busy with convention stuff this weekend that my first video for the collection is going to be on Thursday. It's probably going to be at least 2 videos, maybe 3, because there was a lot of stuff in there, and I don't want to, gloss over any of it. So, yeah, I had stuff already from that last flea market that I did, and I set it up very similarly, but I just kind of added, I kind of multiplied everything that I had by about 2. I had $1 bin at, actually it was a $half bin at the flea market. I ended up filling up the entire box, so I had 1 full short box of $1 comics. I had 2 boxes of $3 comics at the flea market, but I ended up bringing 4 to this event. That was mainly like filler stuff, but runs that people care about. There was like Iron Man, X-Men, Amazing Spider-Man, Avengers, Green Lantern, stuff like that in there that people, want the filler issues for, but they weren't, keys by any means. So those books went in there. There might have been a couple like minor keys in the $3 bins as well, but really minor ones. The $5 bin had a bunch of keys in it, as well as some of the older or more sought after filler issues, whether it was a cool cover or it's just an older, rarer book. Again, I've had 1 $5 bin at the flea market. I amped it up to 2 this time. So just had a lot more for people to look through. Same thing with my priced books. Now my priced books, those were, $6 and up. So anything above $5. And the way they worked out, most of the books in there were under $50 just because I pulled out a lot of the more expensive ones to put on the wall. And I'll get to the wall in just a second. So one thing that I wasn't able to do was to alphabetize or organize those bins. I had a lot of the keys of the same runs together, but it wasn't like Marvel was all together or, all the Avengers were with... what else starts with A? I can't even think. Action Comics. They weren't organized in that sense, and I wish I had done it. I just didn't have time because I acquired a collection on Tuesday. It was hundreds of books, not bagged, not boarded. So it took a while to just bag and board that stuff, let alone going through the process of actually pricing and sorting it all. So I did what I could. I put the bins out and people seem to like them. I mostly end up selling stuff out of the $3, the $5, and the priced bins. Not a ton of dollar books, but a couple. And surprisingly, not a lot of stuff off of the wall, which I'm going to get to next. So if you looked on Instagram, you probably were able to see my wall. The top couple rows all were slabs ranging from, I think I had a slab up there that I was asking $50 for, just a nice cheap entry level one, all the way up to a couple $100. There was nothing astronomical up there, but some good solid keys, some a lot of 80s stuff, nothing super old or expensive. I guess probably the most expensive book up there was a Black Panther #1 in a 9.0. I think I was asking $300 on that book. But like I said, I didn't sell a lot off the wall. The bottom section of the wall did have raw books that were of higher value, including some stuff that I just recently got from that collection. So, like I said, I sold a couple books off the wall, and I think the reason that people weren't buying higher value books, this is kind of what I've gathered from talking to a couple people and just listening to what people are saying about this time of the year and comics and conventions and all that. New York Comic-Con and Baltimore Comic-Con are the big events on the East Coast every year. And they both happened in October this year. And, I'm right in Pennsylvania, so I'm just south of New York. I'm just north of Baltimore. And a lot of the people that were coming to this show, which was in New Jersey, right next door, they were probably either at New York or Baltimore. So a lot of people less than a month ago probably spent a good amount of money at one or both of those conventions. So I think it was a lot of people spending beforehand at those conventions and then not really having as much for this one, as well as the holiday seasons are approaching. People are traveling for Thanksgiving, people are traveling and buying gifts for Christmas. So I think that people's budgets are distributed a little bit differently this time of year, more towards the family holiday events and things like that, as opposed to hobbies. So I think this is kind of the slower portion of the year for comics. Kind of makes sense that there weren't a lot of high value purchases, and I'm not too upset about it. I sold enough to make it very worth it, and for me to be happy with the time I spent setting up and being there all day breaking down. And I felt like I sold enough to be perfectly content with that. Would I have liked to sell more? Yeah, but we're gonna try to do that at future events. Speaking of future events, I definitely plan on doing more conventions like this. I had a great time, and one of my favorite things about the whole experience was just meeting people in the community. There were a lot of people that followed the YouTube channel or the Instagram page that came up and introduced themselves. So shout out to all you guys. I really appreciate that. I'm not going to name names or anything, but I really do appreciate you guys coming up and saying hi. I also, chatted with people who I've already met from the community, whether I initially met them in real life or online. Seeing them again was great. A buddy of mine who I've been friends with since third grade came to the event as well. It was his first convention ever. He just got into comics recently after I started this channel, and I've been kind of teaching him the ways and giving him some suggestions on what to get into. So my buddy Matt made his first convention, had a good time, and grabbed some books. Other than that, I did a free raffle. Some of you were probably on the live stream where I announced that, but the raffle was free to enter as long as you subscribed to the YouTube channel. So that's the whole reason I did it for free, is because I just wanted people to subscribe and be able to view our content. So all you had to do, hold up your phone, show me that you subscribe. I gave you a piece of paper and you filled it out. And the really cool thing about this is that it was close to the end of the day, and a couple of young kids, they kept coming up, and they were like, "Are you doing the drawing soon for the raffle?" And I said, "Well, it's 4:30. It's a little early. Maybe in like half an hour. So 5 o'clock, I see them kind of poking by and looking, and I was like, not yet. Finally, about 5:30, the show's people are heading out and stuff. I was like, all right, I'm gonna pull a winner now. So I pull a winner, and I see them. They're standing off to the side, kind of waiting, and I call the name. I said it to them, asking if it was one of them, and it was. And I was so stoked that it was one of them. I really, truly just reached my hand into a pile and pulled one out. But really so stoked that it was one of them, because getting younger people into comics is a really cool experience. Because when I was a kid, I knew nothing about comics. I didn't own any until I was 5, when my dad's friend gave me a comic, and look at me now. I have way too many comics. That being said, I decided, since it was 3 of them together, they were twin sisters and their cousin, and I think they were twins at least. They looked like twins, but maybe it was hard to tell with the masks on. I apologize if they weren't twins. Anyway, instead of just giving them one book, I decided, they're all there. Why not give them all a book? So I ended up pulling out 3 copies of Amazing Spider-Man Volume 3, Number 1, which is the first cameo appearance of Cindy Moon, who becomes Silk in issue 4. This is a key that I have a bunch of copies of because of speculation, and because I also love the character Silk, and can definitely see them doing some really cool things with her for the MCU. Anyway, like I said, I have a bunch of copies of it. I pulled out 3 of them, and they're like a $15 book, so no big deal. And I gave each of them a copy, and we were chatting for a while. They told me, one of the coolest things they told me was they have a Marvel group chat. And I thought that was so cool that these young kids are so stoked about, the things that we've been into for decades and, for some of us, a very long time. And they've got a group chat about, the Marvel, the MCU, the movies, and hopefully, now that they have this experience, a little bit more comic oriented. Not only that, but they ended up buying a couple books out of the cheaper bins, and their parents came by. I think their dad bought a book, and the mom bought a book for their younger sibling, and it was great. A really cool time. Glad to see their whole family there enjoying the convention, and had a great time chatting with all of them. So that kind of wrapped things up at the end of the show. We started packing things in, and definitely a little bit easier to kind of pack up than unpack. I kind of didn't know what I was doing when I was unpacking, just because I was definitely disorganized. But I got everything up and running. I was pricing stuff as the show was going on because I didn't have everything priced that I wanted to have out. I wish I had more time, but this isn't my full-time job. I work a full-time job during the week, and comics is just a hobby or a little side hustle. So, I got a lot of stuff priced during the day, which was great. I got it out, and packing up, throwing it into the boxes was, a lot easier. So that pretty short experience. We loaded it up into my car as well as Alex's car, and, shout out to him. Huge shout out, because I would not have done this. I would never reached out to do a convention this soon without him kind of not only encouraging me, but also giving me some guidance, because he's been doing it for years, and he's really knowledgeable about that stuff. I also want to give a shout out to Jeff from Comic Connect, because I've been talking with him a ton recently, and he's given me some great suggestions. Another person who has a lot of experience in this. And a shout out to Very Gary Comics as well. I didn't talk to him personally at all, but I watched a lot of his videos, because it seems like he got into doing the whole convention thing the same way that I am. He always talks about how he was buying collections to improve his personal collection and then just sell off the stuff that he didn't want. And it turned into him kind of funding his hobby with these, these collection purchases, and kind of made, like I said, a side hustle out of it. So I watched a lot of his videos, his preparation videos and tips and tricks videos, and I got a lot of great information out of them. So shout out to him as well. That's the rundown of it. Like I said, I definitely want to do these again. I'm happy with the outcome. I'm satisfied with the amount of books that I sold and the profit that I made, but I'm even more happy about just getting out there, meeting people in the community, getting some new subscribers for the YouTube channel, all that stuff. That gets me really hyped up. And I hope you guys enjoyed. If you stopped by the booth, I hope you enjoyed that. And if you didn't, and you watched this video and you made it this far into me rambling about a convention that I did, thank you for that. And look out Thursday, guys, because I think Thursday I'm going to be posting the first video concerning that collection that I bought. And there's some good stuff in there, some really cool things, some rarer books, and some good finds that I hope you guys are going to really enjoy. I'm probably going to break it down, like I said, into 2 or 3 videos, so we'll see. Hopefully I can get them all out in the next week and a half. But either way, I appreciate your support as always. Don't forget to hit that like button on your way out and leave a comment down below. Let me know if you've ever done a convention before, if it's something you'd ever do. Give me a suggestion about my booth for next time. And feel free to head on over to Instagram and check out the pictures of my setup there. And other than that, until next time, turn the page, wash your hands.